Okay, we are live. All right, well, I think we're good to go. Hey, everybody, welcome to pTokens Community Call 7. We have a lot to talk about today. So before we get started, I'm going to introduce myself and explain a little bit about today's call. I'm Robin. I'm the community manager, marketing manager for pTokens. And we also have here founder Thomas Bertani, head of operations, Alice Corsini is here.
Hello, everyone.
Our CMO, Yelena Keatley.
Hi, everyone.
And Greg Kapka, our blockchain engineer.
Hi.
Thanks for coming, guys. So as we continue on, everyone watching can ask questions. Feel free to put them in the Q&A section at the bottom of this webinar. And if you're watching the call on YouTube, we're live streaming there as well. You can feel free to comment or pop into our Telegram channel. That's at t.me/pTokens. And if you're unfamiliar with pTokens, we are a cross-chain composability project. I should say cross-chain composability DeFi project that enables users to move any crypto asset across any blockchain. We're the team behind pBTC, which brings Bitcoin to Ethereum and EOS. And this month we launched PLTC, which brings Litecoin to Ethereum. And we recently introduced our governance token, the pNetwork token, PNT, which I believe a lot of folks will have questions on. And the launch of the pNetwork DAO, which is powered by PNT. So that's a great place probably to start our news, Alice, if you want to jump into all of our happenings.
Sure. Thanks, Robin. So it's been a while since our last community call, so I will try to summarize the things that happened as major events. So one fresh news that actually went out this morning is that we are having a second trading competition along with Binance. We have worked with their team to bring a trading competition to the community and to the wider ecosystem. So you can now trade PNT on Binance and get rewards for your trading. So the best trader will win up to 7,000 PNT tokens. The competition is open until September 4th. So good luck, everyone, and enjoy. Then going to more product-related news, I wanted to discuss with you Steroids. So Steroids is the first yield farming attempt of the pNetwork ecosystem. Our goal in general is to enable the growth of the assets within our network. This includes our governance token PNT, as well as all the pTokens assets. So for example, pBTC and PLTC as well. So our first attempt is specifically for PNT, and it involves a liquidity mining program with Uniswap. So what you can do is bringing PNT on steroids. This sounds really complicated, but it's actually rather simple. So you can just provide liquidity to the PNT USDT pool on Uniswap. By doing that, if you are on steroids, you are getting a 10% monthly reward. This incentive is a first attempt that we wanted to experiment. So it lasts only until September 10th, and it gives you up to 10% rewards for the month that the program lasts. And then once you have provided liquidity into the Uniswap pool, you can use the UniBitU token that you receive back from Uniswap and put that into the Steroids smart contract, and also join in the pNetwork DAO. So you will also be able to, you won't miss out from the DAO, and you will be still able to vote and participate within the DAO, including participating in the DAO rewards. So I think that's a pretty interesting experiment that we tried, and it will be really great if you guys wanted to have a look at it, try it out, and get a nice incentive for doing so. Also because this is in preparation for other liquidity mining programs and incentives that we want to introduce and that we aim to introduce going forward. In fact, our first pNetwork DAO proposal is specifically on a liquidity mining incentive for PLTC, but we will discuss that more about this later in the call. And then to conclude my part, I just wanted to share with you some stats and updates from Epoch 0. So we are currently in Epoch 1 of the pNetwork DAO. And Epoch is a 2 weeks period that basically defines the shortest period of the DAO. And after this 2 weeks period, at the end of every epoch, rewards are distributed to all the participants and people who have voted and engaged with the pNetwork DAO. So during Epoch 0, we have collected all staking from people, and actually we had pretty good numbers since we had more than 35 million PNT tokens at stake within the DAO, straight from Epoch 0. So this is a really great result, specifically because this is approximately 56% of the entire total supply of the PNT governance token. So it's really great. And I hope that the participation from the community will keep growing, but still it's a really good start. And this comes from more than 900 Ethereum addresses. So also, we have a lot of diversity, and it's not just, just us from the team engaging with the DAO, which is really great to see. And we have seen a great response also for our first proposal. So as I said, we are now in Epoch 1, and we have launched 2 days ago. We have opened our first pNetwork DAO proposal. The proposal is specifically about creating an incentive for PLTC liquidity mining. We have not specified, we will discuss about this later in the call, but we have not specified yet like where we would like to create this incentive. Uniswap, Curve, whatever else, Loopring, I don't know, yet to be decided. But with this proposal, we just wanted to understand if that's at all interesting for the community to do. And at the moment, we have received a great response already, because we have almost 3 million DAO PNT tokens that have voted to the proposal. So it's great. If you didn't vote yet, the proposal closes tomorrow at tomorrow Friday at 12 p.m. UTC time. So you still have a few hours before the vote close, and I encourage everyone to share your opinion on the matter. So yeah, that's all for me, and I would pass the mic to Thomas, who will explain a bit more how you can stake and vote within DAO.
Thanks, Alice, and hello everyone. My apologies for before at the beginning of the call, my mic was muted. Just to continue from where Alice left, I think that we are doing some very good progress, and the main advancements that are visible that are visible to everyone are around the pNetwork DAO, which is like a big milestone for us, and that has recently launched. So as Alice said, we have just we are in the middle of the second epoch, which will finish in a few days. This second period is set to end in a few days. If I remember correctly, the end of the epoch is on a Sunday night. So this is just an estimate, And this is something I wanted to tell because like some people are confused. So I think this is a great chance to clarify that. Basically, the DAO works in periods of 2 weeks called epochs, as Alice was explaining. And since these 2 weeks are already set with a given number of Ethereum blocks, there is some variance given by mining, the mining activity on Ethereum, the hash rate, and many other variables. So it's not super easy to know in advance the exact minute when the epoch will end. It's just a estimate, which becomes more and more accurate as we approach the end of the epoch. And right now the estimate is for Sunday night. So something I wanted to do during this call was showing hands-on how the DAO works. We did something similar in the previous call before the actual launch of the DAO, but the DAO wasn't finalized yet, so it was very similar to the one you would see today. But now it's really working, and it has been working for the last 3 weeks and a half. So I will share my screen now. Let me try. Yeah, just 1 second. Okay. I think you can see Chrome.
Yeah,
Can someone
Etherscan right now.
Okay, yeah. So the page you can see now, you see now on my screen, is the Etherscan page for the DAO PNT token. So the DAO PNT token is basically a receipt that shows that you are participating into the DAO with some PNT tokens at stake. So this is not a token that's supposed to be traded or transferred to anyone, really. It's just a token that, for convenience, you can see in your wallet if you have participated with such wallet to the DAO. So as you can see, the number of holders right now is approximately 1,000 addresses. So those are the users that are participating into the DAO. And if you look at the transfers, you can see what's going on with the DAO. So for example, you can see that 1 minute ago, someone has destroyed DAO PNT tokens, meaning that they have basically quit the DAO with 2.3 thousand PNT tokens. But you can also see the opposite. As you can see from my screen, the vast majority of operations right now are people entering the DAO, which means they are creating new DAO PNT tokens. You can see that because this is just how Etherscan displays the issuance of new tokens. You will see that they are created from address 0. So when you see a transfer from address 0 to something else, it means a new token is created. While when you see the opposite, such as here, from a given address to the address 0, it means the token is destroyed. So when the DAO PNT token is destroyed, it means someone basically this is an operation done by the DAO. It means the DAO has destroyed a receipt of ownership of PNTs within the DAO, which means that those PNT are not at stake anymore. And well, today there has been a few tens of thousands of PNTs added to the DAO. And right now, the total number of PNTs in the DAO can easily be seen by checking the total supply of this special token called DAO PNT. So you can see here that there are 35.7 million DAO PNT in existence. And this means basically that the exact same number of PNT is at stake within the DAO. So if you check on Etherscan, the PNT token, for instance, you will see that, this supply, the total supply, of course, is different. It's higher. So in this case, right now, it's approximately 62 million PNT. And of those, 35.7 are at stake within the DAO. You can also see it from the holders of PNTs, because the very first holder, the biggest holder of PNT is obviously the DAO. So this address is a special smart contract of the DAO, and this is where the tokens at stake are being safeguarded, and they are kept safe by the DAO on this special address. And as you can see, like the other tokens in circulations are mostly on, you know, exchanges. This is another address of the DAO actually. So this address number 6 is like they are the tokens at disposal of the DAO for distributing rewards, for creating other initiatives or things like that. You know, as you can see, the biggest holders are basically DAO related and by far, while like the exchanges follow. Now, looking at our DAO, I wanted to remind everyone that our DAO is based on a framework called Aragon. Aragon is probably, as far as I know, it's the longest running and still actively developed framework for building advanced decentralized autonomous organizations on Ethereum. It's super complex, but this like in a good way, meaning that it has many like features that can be integrated by DAOs without having to reinvent the wheel. Something we did with the pNetwork DAO is not just putting together basic components from Aragon, but also building some of our own, such as Steroids or you know, the staking manager, for instance, and also rewards actually. But if you look at apps, which are the main components that build the DAO, there are things like finance, for instance, which is an Aragon app that comes pre-built by Aragon, and that anyone can use to see what are like how many tokens are at disposal of the DAO for its own uses by the decentralized autonomous organization. So if you check now, indeed you see like the number of PNTs I was mentioning earlier, which is like approximately 2 million PNT. So basically the inflation of the PNT token is distributed to the DAO and goes into this container, and now then the DAO decides how to use those tokens. So those tokens, for instance, are distributed every 2 weeks at the end of each epoch for rewarding active participants into the DAO, and anything else which is left over from the distribution is basically stays within the DAO. So the DAO in the future will be able to vote and decide how to use those tokens. One example of how to use them could be just to burn these tokens and destroy them so that the total supply goes down. However, those tokens are not actually in circulation because they are locked inside the DAO. So unless the DAO decides to use them in a specific way, they are not allowed to move anywhere. So, so those tokens within the DAO, those 2 million PNT that the DAO currently has, are not really in circulation. They are under the control of the DAO, and the DAO can decide how to use them. So the very first question we have started during this epoch, which is vote number 1, is like a proposal on how to use some of those tokens. So if you look into the voting app here on the bottom left, you see that there is a list of votes. And indeed, there is just one vote. And this is the very first vote we have started. So votes last for 3 days. And in like 18 hours, those 3 days will be over. So it means that the voting will close and no one will be able to vote after other like 18, 19 hours. So if we click on the vote, we see that so far, people have voted with approximately 8.1 million DAO PNT tokens in favor of such vote, of such proposal, while 500,000 has voted against. So in total, the participants, like people who have actively voted so far, are approximately 8.6 million DAO PNT tokens. This is like a big chunk of the tokens in the DAO, and it's reasonable to expect that someone doesn't vote. Also because it's important to vote in order to receive rewards, but especially to see the project advance in a direction that the community likes. So specifically in this epoch, there will be just this vote. So it's not important for anyone to, I mean, it is important for everyone to vote always for the like benefit of the project, but everyone will receive a reward regardless, because the criteria that we use, that the DAO actually uses to define who is eligible for the reward of the epoch, is like basically everyone who has voted to all voting proposals in the period but one. So if there are 0 proposals, everyone, if there are 0 like votes, everyone always receives the rewards for the epoch. If there is 1 vote, everyone, regardless of them having voted or not, receives the rewards. If there are, for instance, 2 votes, everyone who has voted to at least 1 vote in the period receives the epoch, and so on. So for instance, I don't think there will ever be so many votes in 2 weeks, but let's assume for a second that there are like 50 votes in a given epoch. In that case, the requirement for people to receive a reward will be to vote to at least 49 votes out of 50. So normally what we expect is to have something between, I would say 0, probably 0. It will be like, I don't think there will be 0, there will be 0 votes, but let's say 1 vote to something like 3 votes every couple of weeks. And of course there could be more or less. I mean, it depends on what is actually needed. So for instance, if we see on the community channels that there are strong there is a sentiment showing that we should do something different than what we are doing, then we can basically create a vote for it and see if actually, you know, it's not just people who are noisy that are voicing this opinion, but also people who have money at stake. So in you know, the community channels, it's very easy for a few people to potentially you know, write some like opinions that may sound like they are the opinion of the majority, but the DAO is actually designed exactly to avoid that misunderstanding, and it's actually there to ensure that people vote with you know, like something expensive put at stake in return. So everyone that basically holds PNT can voice his opinion with a weighted vote that basically depends on the number of tokens they have. So here actually you don't see the number of voters. If you look here on the right of yes and no, you always see the number of tokens, because like in the blockchain sphere, in the blockchain ecosystem in general, the number of users, I mean, is a metric that could be used, but it's very easy to manipulate. Like I could, for example, buy with a single wallet 1000 PNT and vote with 1000 PNT and a single wallet, but I could also just buy 1 PNT with 1000 different wallets. Which one is more relevant? Well, we don't have, you know, KYC system or a system to avoid this problem. So what we are doing is basically just considering the number of tokens. Since those tokens have a value on the market, for people to voice their opinion, they will need to buy a relevant number of tokens. So this is like the safest and basically state of the art for DAOs in the blockchain space in general. So that's why the number of users is not really even written, because it will be misleading. Like what we are showing here is the number of tokens who have voted. And as you can see, the vast majority of tokens have voted in favor of this first vote. So let me dive a little bit into this first vote before proceeding. So this first vote has, well, since it's the first one, let me explain how it works. So the votes are numbered with like sequential numbers. So the first vote is 1, the next one will be 2, and so on. And for each vote, there is a description. The description is not meant to be super long. It's meant to be a summary and basically a short sentence that describes what the vote is about. So that's why the description is just a very short question that asks, should the DAO incentivize PLTC liquidity providing on Ethereum? And what follows is like a link. This is not like a normal link. For those of you who are interested, this is an IPFS link. So what does it mean? I will not dive too much into this unless there are questions later. But IPFS is a very powerful tool that basically allows to find a content in like a peer-to-peer network, starting from the hash of such content. So why is that relevant? Well, basically because here in this text of the description lives on the blockchain, is written on the blockchain. So this cannot be changed and this cannot be tampered with by anyone. Yet the link references a website, right? ipfs.io. So what happens if the website disappears? Do we lose the reference to this attachment? No, we don't, because this special link contains the hash of the content, which is this QM, EO, and so on. This is the hash of the actual content that is available on IPFS. It means that basically, if the content was ever changed, this hash would differ. Yet the hash is available on the blockchain. So everyone can check on the blockchain that the content attached to this question never changes. And if it changes, they may not be able to ever find the original one, but at least they know there was someone that tried to tamper with it. And this is very important in the context of a DAO, which could potentially one day control a very significant amount of funds, right? We don't want anyone, any attacker or anyone really, to be able to potentially come back later and change some contents within the question to make the community believe that the intent, for instance, of the vote was different. So this is really a critical piece. And that's why there is this link. So if you click on the link, you will see this page. It's not super fancy on purpose because this is like, this lives on IPFS. It's like supposed to be basically plain text or something really simple. And actually, it just repeats the title of the proposal, and there is a summary, an abstract, motivation, specification. So basically, you can read it independently. I will just very quickly explain what this is about. So this question is about creating a yield farming initiative. So basically, a system to incentivize liquidity providers for providing liquidity on PLTC, which is a pTokenized Litecoin. So very recently, we have just a few weeks ago, we have launched on Ethereum the pTokens Litecoin, which is called PLTC. And this is like the very first attempt to bring Litecoin to Ethereum. So since there are so many Bitcoin alternatives other than PBTC on the market, we wanted to see if it made sense for everyone in the community to incentivize PLTC first, as we think this could be like more successful as an initiative, since there are basically no other working alternatives on the market, which means we could easily attract a lot of interest. For example, also from the Litecoin community or from people who have Litecoins in their wallets and that may want to basically convert them in pTokens LTC, move them onto Ethereum, and benefit the total value locked of the pToken system, the pNetwork, but also themselves, given the incentive that we would design accordingly. As it seems from the vote, I mean, the vote hasn't closed yet, but it seems like the majority of voters so far are in favor. So we would design something based on top of Steroids. And Steroids was previously explained by Alice, is basically just an adapter that enables people who have put like tokens, who has put liquidity within Uniswap or similar systems to be able to also interoperate with pNetwork DAO. So going back, well, something else I wanted to add is that at the very bottom, we have put a link for this course, topic, which is basically, this is a forum which is not meant to be general purpose. So this forum.p.network is like a new a board that we have just started, where people can specifically discuss the DAO proposals. So we have just reposted, I've just reposted like the same content here to see if there is any question, and there has been some feedback here. So I don't want to be the only one driving the discussion in this forum, so I will answer with my opinion later, but I want also to leave users share freely their opinion. And this is like a public platform where everyone can contribute, but of course the DAO is all about having a decentralized decision-making process, and increasingly so. So even in this initial phase, what we have written here at the end is join the discussion of this proposal on the community channels or on the discourse topic. So the community channels are not just the official ones, it's any channel. So if like the voters in the DAO believe, for instance, that we are not doing a good job in staying super partes and agnostic in each proposal, they can discuss it on any platform. Really, they can do it on Twitter, they can do it on unofficial groups, they can do it with in-person meetups, they can do it as they please. We just created for convenience a discourse topic as a reference, so just to facilitate the initial discussion, but anyone should really feel free to discuss independently from the team each proposal, so that the results of the DAO are not influenced by the team itself. We want to have a lower and lower influence going forward, so we always have an opinion, of course, on proposals, but we don't want to be the ones choosing. Otherwise, we wouldn't use a DAO, right? We wouldn't use a tool like this. We want to have a community which is increasingly more and more engaged with the project, and votes is like an initial way to make it happen. So going back to the voting can be done by anyone who has who had PNTs at stake in the DAO when the vote opened. So if you put tokens at stake after a given vote was opened, you will not be able to vote and to participate into the vote. This is to prevent some kind of attacks. So in this case, you will see that, for example, now I'm connected with like a test account, and I had previously staked one token in the DAO. And here at the bottom of the vote, it says that I'm voting with one DAO PNT, because when the vote had started, which was at this time here, my participation into the DAO was with one DAO PNT. So now I can vote yes and no. And basically, I mean, it's not necessary for me to do it. It wouldn't really add much. It's just a couple of clicks. Just let me show you that when I click yes, basically there is just a confirmation and that MetaMask pops up. And I can simply cast my vote. The vote here is done via this interface, which is the Aragon interface. It's basically the DApp of the DAO. But there are also like, there is a different way to interact with the DAO for those who want, which is a mobile interface that uses the Eidoo wallet. So I will show you this interface in a second. And what we have seen with the first vote is the vast majority of people prefers to vote by Eidoo for a couple of reasons. The first one is that it's really convenient to use because it's a mobile interface, and basically it abstracts out a lot of the complexity of the official DApp. So the DApp on Aragon is supposed to be really, complete reference. So you can find many details. For example, if you go into the staking manager, you will see many things like other than staking and unstaking features. You will see like other stats. Also in rewards, for it, I think rewards is one of probably the easiest way. You see here there are many other details, also finance, tokens, steroids. I mean, this is like the most advanced interface to interact with the DAO, but you need to pay for transaction fees to interact with the DAO because the DAO is a smart contract. So as with any other smart contract on Ethereum, we have optimized significantly such contracts so that the interaction doesn't cost too much. But still, the Ethereum network is super congested right now, and gas prices have skyrocketed recently. So interacting with the DAO still has a cost, also for voting. Via Eidoo, the votes are basically collected as signatures from the Eidoo app, and they are sent on chain and paid for by Eidoo itself. So why does Eidoo do it and Aragon doesn't? Well, there is a very simple reason, which is that basically the Aragon interface is like an interaction with the DAO, which is completely trustless and that has no intermediaries whatsoever. So you can potentially just change this website, main.aragon.org, with just an open source software they distribute on their GitHub, and you can access the DAO without having to trust anyone, really, not even the Aragon website. While when you interact with the DAO from the DAO Manager of Eidoo, which I will show you in a second, it's trust minimized, but it's not completely trustless. Why? Because basically Eidoo is like putting on top of the DAO an additional interface, which is simplified, where Eidoo plays the role of intermediating. So for instance, when you vote, Eidoo collects the signature of the wallet. So it's not possible for Eidoo to cheat or tamper with the voting. That's not possible. But what Eidoo could potentially do is, for instance, avoid sending the votes on the blockchain. So as you can see, this is not like Eidoo is not able to do anything malicious, but is potentially able to censor some votes. I mean, there is no interest for Eidoo to do it, but in principle, it's possible. So why is Eidoo even paying for transaction fees? Well, basically because Eidoo is a DeFi wallet and it has an interest in attracting more and more users. So it's obvious that basically everyone who uses the DAO manager within Eidoo is like trying out the app. So it's a user of the Eidoo wallet and benefits the Eidoo ecosystem as well. So Eidoo, in return, is basically facilitating the interaction of the DAO and taking over some of the interaction costs. That's very simple, similar to what, for instance, Argent, which is a competing wallet with Eidoo, does for some transactions and some interactions with some smart contracts. Eidoo does it for the pNetwork DAO. So I think that's enough for the Aragon for the Aragon interface. Now I will stop the screen share here.
This might be a good time, Thomas, to take a peek at some questions while you're setting up another screen. Also, I wanted to encourage everyone watching that you can ask anything in the YouTube channel, Telegram, Discord, or the Q&A section of this Zoom, and we'll be sure the team gets it. And funny enough, it looks like you already have just answered one of the questions about what is the benefit of voting with Aragon as opposed to Eidoo.
Okay, I'm screen sharing now with the with my iPad. So so you can see the Eidoo app. So I'm just unlocking it, and when you set up Eidoo, use a stronger password than 4 characters because 4 is not strong enough. But in any case, this is like the main interface of the Eidoo wallet. So you see you have a personal wallet. On the top left, you have a portfolio. So you can see how your portfolio is doing. And sorry, let me disable notifications. Okay. It supports Bitcoin, Litecoin. It's conveniently integrated with pTokens. So for instance, it's really trivial to do a plugin and convert your Bitcoin to pBTC via Eidoo. You just do, well, I don't have Bitcoins now here, unfortunately. But for instance, I have pBTC. So let's say you want to do a peg out and convert the pBTC back to Bitcoin. I can just do it with one click here. And all the complexity is abstracted out. I just find Bitcoin in my wallet after the conversion, or the opposite. And here you can see on the top the DAO Manager. So the DAO Manager is like, well, if you were wondering, Etherscan is still verifying the data we have submitted for the DAO PNT token, but this is the icon of the DAO PNT token. It's basically the PNT token with like a dotted border. And if you click on the DAO Manager, you can see like this is the interface for the interaction. And basically it says my PNT balance is like 5 PNT tokens. And my DAO PNT balance is extremely small, is 0.001. This is like just a test wallet, of course. And my voting power is like pretty much 0 because I've like my voting power is basically the percentage of my DAO PNT holdings compared to the total supply of DAO PNT. So the total number of PNTs I put at stake in the DAO compared to the total number of PNTs at stake in the DAO. And it says that the epoch number 1, which is the second, because the first one was number 0, ends in approximately 3 days and 9 hours, as I was saying, which is Sunday night in Europe. And my estimated Epoch 1 reward is 0 because I saw like this is rounded to 1 decimal. So on the first year, the reward is 42%, which is approximately 1.61% every 2 weeks. So 1.61% of 0.001 is like a very small number of PNTs. So this is why you see 0 here. And you also conveniently see the total number of PNTs in the DAO, which is basically the total supply of DAO PNT, which at the moment is 35.7 million tokens. So you can monitor how the DAO is doing as well. And there are a couple of buttons. One is stake and stake. If you click there, there is like an interface which lets you stake tokens. Now I'm not going to do it, but it's just a couple of clicks from here. And you can basically just do the stake or unstake operation directly from the mobile wallet without having to use Aragon or without leaving your mobile wallet. This is compatible with both Android and iOS. So it's very convenient to use on a mobile device. And then there is the voting and rewards section. So voting and rewards has a few sections. So the first one, voting, shows the open votes, and it will show also historical votes. And there are just few information. You see, this is not super crowded as an interface compared to the Aragon one. Here you just see yes, no, how many tokens have voted. The vote is currently still running, and it's closing in 18 hours. There is a countdown. Now, you don't see the buttons here for voting for or against the vote because I have already voted. So here it's just saying I've already voted for this proposal, so in favor. And as you can see, just for extra convenience and not to scare too much, the users, which may not be used to super technical details, the IPFS link is automatically converted as a read more. So you can just click on the read more. It's equivalent to clicking on the IPFS link, and it just opens in the browser the same text we were previously seeing. So if you want to do your homework and understand better what the vote is about, you can just click on the read more link, which every vote has, and find out more or join the discussion on the forum or elsewhere. There is also another section called rewards, where it says how many PNT I've received from the previous epoch, the rewards distribution. So in the first epoch, I had the same amount. So, actually I had more. So I have received 0.04 on the 15th of August, which is when the first epoch had ended. And they are locked for approximately 1 year. So they will unlock on the 21st August. 1 year, again, is defined in number of blocks. So the date you find here is just conveniently converted, but the number of days can slightly vary. So it could be a few days before, a few days later, depending on how the Ethereum network goes. So now you see it unlocks on the 21st of August, so a bit more than 1 year. But if, for example, the price of Ethereum goes up, normally what happens is that the mining power increases, the hash rate increases, hence the average block time goes down. So they will be locked for less than 1 year. And then preferences, where you can conveniently set if you want to receive push notifications on your mobile device when a given vote opens, so you don't risk missing out on voting, or if you want to receive a notification by email in case you prefer that. I think this is pretty much all. So I will stop the screen sharing. I think the Eidoo interface is like really convenient. The Aragon one is like more, if you want, professional or complete, in the sense that it's more advanced. So it's not for everyone. If you are a technical user, you may prefer to use the Aragon interface. If you are like an average user of crypto assets and you are just getting started, using Eidoo may just be simpler. I think this is pretty much everything what I wanted to say. So I will see if there is any question now.
Looks like we have a few. And I know that you just went over some of them, but since the proposal has a lot to do with steroids, there was a user on YouTube who asked, what is steroids in simple words? So I know it can be a little complex sometimes, and we do publish a lot of blog posts that go into the details, technical details of exactly step-by-step how to go through with it. I did publish the link in the chat and on YouTube, and I'll port it over to Telegram and Discord as well. But essentially you could visit p.network/steroids, and you'll have step-by-step directions with links on exactly how to add to the Uniswap pool, how to earn 3 rewards at once with your UniV2 tokens. So you'll get pool fees. You'll have the yield farming initiative, that's 10% monthly APR with the Steroids app, and then a direct on-ramp to the DAO to actually stake in the DAO and to get those PNT rewards as well on your PNT at stake.
Yeah, something I wanted to add, which, I mean, just to make it more intuitive, I think people find it very easy when they see it, and I think most people that interact with Ethereum are very used to working with Etherscan. So on Etherscan, for instance, if you look at the biggest DAO PNT holder, as I said, that's the DAO vault that contains the tokens at stake. So which is this one, you see, which is 57% of the total supply of PNT. So if you look here, you see all operations that are basically stake and non-stake operations. If you click on the address of the, you see this is the contract, which is basically just the vault. Now I will not bore you too much with this, but what I wanted to show you is that if you see here and check the tokens that the this address holds, which at the moment have a market value of approximately $35 million. The vast majority of it is the PNTs put at stake, but some are these UniV2 tokens that basically are the tokens that Steroids has enabled users to put at stake. So when you put liquidity into the PNT USDT liquidity pool on Uniswap, you receive those tokens. They are basically just a receipt that Uniswap gives you to show that you have provided liquidity. And when you use Steroids, those tokens are transferred within the DAO. And you see here, there are some of those tokens because some people have used Steroids to participate into the DAO. And basically, this is what Steroids is all about. So basically, it's just like the commercial name we have given to this platform that enables, on the one hand, to like incentivize some liquidity providing that is beneficial for the project. And on the other hand, it enables users to participate into the DAO by putting at stake not PNT directly, but something else, which under the hood contains PNT, but is not really PNT only, such as the liquidity provided on Uniswap in the pool PNT USDT, which is PNT but also USDT. So in that case, basically you participate with your stake into the Uniswap pool, and Steroids take care takes care of putting those into the DAO and quantifying the PNTs to enhance your voting power within the DAO. I think Alice can take
Yes.
maybe the question around the token holders and the proposals.
Yes. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, at the moment, sorry, the question is, can also token holders open proposals? So at the moment, they can't, in the sense that we as the main development team are, for obvious reasons, the persons that are the most familiar the most with the pNetwork DAO, as well as the pNetwork as an ecosystem with all its elements within it. So this includes pTokens, this includes Eidoo, this includes the crypto credit card, and so on and so forth. So there are many elements to it, and because we have worked on them, we are the people who know them the most. So just for for the first few proposals, we have decided to keep proposals available for opening just to the main development team and not to everyone, because we thought this is a safer way to proceed. However, going forward, we want to decentralize the ecosystem and all our products even more, including the DAO. So going forward, we want to open proposals also to people outside of the main development team. This includes, for example, token holders, or also other projects in the DeFi ecosystem. We have not defined yet how we will do that exactly. An idea is to use the Aragon courts to do that, so that we can have a sort of committee or a specific group of people that opens proposals via the Aragon court. However, this is open for discussion, and we want to hear also the feedback from the community. So for sure, we will also have a vote specifically on this at some point as we are ready to move forward and decentralize even more. One last thing that I wanted to mention is that while at the moment we are, technically able to only open proposal from the main development team, actually we are very happy to receive proposals, on our channels from all community members. And if we see that there is a topic that is of particular interest for the community, we are happy to open technically the proposal on behalf of the community. And actually, this is what happened for the very first proposal. So incentivizing liquidity for PLTC is not something that, well, of course, we think that is an interesting idea, but it was actually an idea that came up in our pTokens Telegram channel. Someone from the community proposed it, and then someone else thought it was really interesting. And so, we thought it was interesting as well, and we decided to move ahead and open an official proposal. So this is just to say that while technically we are the only ones that are able to open proposals at the moment, we are happy to receive feedback on all our social channels, on Discord, on Telegram, on the forum, and so on and so forth. So if you have anything that you want to be formally publicly discussed and vote on, feel free to propose it on the channels, and we can discuss that in a more informal way, and then open a vote if that's what the majority wants. I hope this answers the question.
Thanks, Alice. Something I wanted to add to your explanation, which I think was very clear, is that this is not a specific choice we did. It's something that the entire ecosystem is currently doing. And the reasoning is that you really want to avoid like all participants to abuse the system and creating like proposals that basically bother everyone, even for opinions that may not represent something of interest for the majority. So initially, we will keep control of this. Eventually, I'm sure there will be different ways to basically come up with systems where everyone can open votes. For instance, something that we have in mind is enabling everyone with a given number of tokens to be able to open proposals eventually. So we could say, for instance, that if someone has at least I don't know, a given number of tokens, say 200,000 or something like that, they will be able to open proposals independently, even if they are outside of the team. And this specific change and the specific number of tokens required to open a vote may even be a vote we start as a team. So as a team, we could one day start a vote saying, should we give up voting the opening of votes to everyone that has at least 200,000 votes? And we see what the majority thinks. If the majority approves, then we can do that, and the next votes will be opened by either the team or someone that satisfies such criteria.
Cool. So, I can answer a question that I see on, the question is, can you use the Eidoo app via a web browser or Chrome plugin? So no, Eidoo's not yet available as a browser extension, but you can use it on desktop from the desktop app for Windows, Linux, OS X. All of that can be downloaded at eidoo.io. I believe eidoo.app potentially links you to the correct one. But yeah, so that's maybe something that we're looking toward in the future, but definitely desktop availability.
I also saw another questions that maybe I can answer to. So the question is, what is the benefit of voting with Aragon as opposed to on Eidoo? So this is a really interesting question, and I would say I think that Thomas went through the two interfaces already, so I will keep it quick. But I think that the main difference is what you want to do with it. So if you want to, just vote within the DAO, follow the discussion, and then vote, then I would say that Eidoo is a good option. Also, for example, if you are into the DeFi ecosystem and you are used to using a lot of DeFi platforms or experimenting with them, I would say that Eidoo is a good solution, because other than connecting you to the pNetwork DAO, it actually gives you the ability to also interact with pTokens and pBTC, for example, as well as a large variety of other DeFi platforms in the ecosystem that are not specifically developed by us. So it interacts with the Kyber, with Compound, with Aave, and many others. So I would say these are, two good use cases if that's your case. While if you are specifically interested in the pNetwork DAO and doing more advanced things, then I would say probably Aragon is the best place, because Eidoo has a more simplified version. So for example, if you want to interact with the Steroids, you can do that. With the Steroids smart contracts, you can do that from the Aragon interface. Or also if you want to set, longer time lock, or if you want to stake tokens on behalf of someone else, or in general, the Aragon interface has more advanced options. So if you are interested in doing, more advanced things, I would suggest using Aragon. I would say this is the main difference. And then I see there are a couple of Eidoo-related questions. So one is, can I enter Aragon by the same credential of Eidoo? I think this is a question that is more general and not specifically on the DAO. So in general, Eidoo is a trustless wallet, so you can export your private key and import that into MetaMask, for example, and interact with the DAO that way. So for example, if you had staked your tokens already via Eidoo, but then you want to interact with the DAO via Aragon and not specifically with Eidoo, what you can do is exporting your private key from Eidoo, importing it in an Aragon supported wallet. So for example, MetaMask or Fortmatic, and there are others. And then interact with Aragon that way. So I would say this is the answer.
Something I can add to what Alice just said is that since it's like an anticipation, since this is quickly approaching release, its release, Eidoo will soon, I think in something like 1 or 2 weeks, support Wallet Connect, which is a system for mobile wallets to basically connect to the browser on your desktop so that you can interact with dApps. So if you have like dApps, such as the Aragon one for the pNetwork DAO, where you may want to connect your Eidoo wallet, you will be able to do so via Wallet Connect eventually, once it's available both on Aragon and on Eidoo. Eidoo will release it shortly, which will enable it to interact with many like DeFi dApps and many other dApps. Some of those dApps are integrated within Eidoo already, so you don't need Wallet Connect. Some others, such as Aragon, are not. Well, Aragon is integrated via the DAO Manager, but you may want to, for different reasons, to interact directly via the Aragon dApp. You can do that once they both support it. And Aragon doesn't support Wallet Connect yet, but it will support it shortly as well, because we have seen it's being actively discussed on their community channels, and because we have seen that they are making all the code in preparation for that. For instance, they have already added in some of their libraries the support for Wallet Connect, so I expect it to support it shortly.
Okay, it looks like that is the end of our questions. I think, unless anyone wants to get in one by the bell.
There was the other question, sorry to interrupt, I saw on the ETH 2.0, which I thought was quite interesting. Someone asking like whether ETH 2.0 will be good for DeFi and PNT. And I mean, it can only be good for it. Like, we're pretty excited for it because it's going to increase massively the sort of throughput of the chain, which will bring down fees, which is always a sore point when it comes to DeFi stuff. And it's going to mean more transactions, which is great news for DeFi. And there's more abstractions in general. It's going to increase composability for everything. And because what we're doing here with the PNT is to bring more sort of cross-chain things in, it can only be better if the sort of the base chain Ethereum that we're using is increasing its speed and quality and whatnot. So we're pretty excited for that.
Definitely. I think one of the biggest clogs for onboarding new users and expanding and scaling is obviously some of the gas fees and network congestion. So we're definitely looking forward to the next wave of Ethereum. Oh, Alicia, I think your mic is muted.
Sorry, yeah, I was just saying that I think we are all crying because of how high the fees are right now. So yeah, hopefully we will get a solution like at some point.
We'll keep crossing our fingers that it's any day. In the meantime, I mean, we've seen this DAO grow so quickly, so fast, and you know, we have a big bright future here at pNetwork, and we definitely look forward to the community getting bigger. I just posted all of the links on all the channels. You can find us in the chat here, and I shared on YouTube as well. So yeah, just please feel free to shout us out, ask any questions. Our team is always available, and we're in many time zones, which you may notice. So yeah, I'm just so pleased that you guys can join us for the call. And unless there's anything else, I think we'll just wrap it up. All right. Looks good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Thomas, Greg, Alice, Yelena, I know is doing some back-end work on the attendees. And that's it for Community Call 7. We will see you guys at the next one.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
See you next
Bye.
time.
Bye.
Bye.